Welcome back to another episode of Walk-ins Welcome. I'm your host, Nick Ward. I've got my co-host, Michael Ray. We're excited to be discussing all things about tripling your revenue through digital marketing services and exceptional patient experience. Welcome.
Yeah, and this time we're actually going to talk a little about digital, but also there's the physical side of local marketing that we don't touch too much on, but we actually just had a recent client appreciation event, which was a pure local cookout type of thing. And that kind of sparked the idea, like we should probably talk about what we learned and some of the things, do's and don'ts from it in terms of like throwing an event for potential customers, existing customers, and just getting your name out there a little bit.
We had a really good time at that event.
We really did. Like it was, and we joked like, well, one of our clients really joked how few people would show up to it, which I laugh at now. He's like, "Oh, 8 people are going to show up. I'm
pretty sure he didn't come either.
He didn't even come, so he didn't contribute. But we had quite a few people show up. It also turned out to be a really great family event for our team.
Yeah,
like, that was actually really nice to see that. So, but no, it was. I enjoyed it. I know we're going to do another one because it turned out so good. So props to Hannah on the, let her, like, I'm gonna let y'all know, like, that was Hannah's brainchild essentially, and she turned out good.
For those of you who don't know Hannah is our digital marketing specialist here at Nathan Marketer. She does all of our internal marketing.
Yep. And like this podcast would not be reaching your ears right now without Hannah.
Yep. Hannah rocks. Hashtag Hannah rocks.
Props.
All right. Well, look, we're going to do an episode on how to maximize like an open house or what is it when the Chamber of Commerce comes out?
The grand opening.
Yeah, grand opening.
Ribbon cuttings.
But before we do that, I wanted to say first, like, this can work if you're a brand new medical practice, and this can work if you're a long-term existing medical practice. It's all in the way you promote and plan it.
Yes. Fun fact, ribbon cuttings and grand openings aren't meant for only new businesses.
That's right.
I've been to so many chamber ribbon cuttings for a business that's already been there for years. They're just they're just making a reason to have a bunch of people show up at their store.
Yep. And depending on why you have it, it's a great opportunity for people to go network with one another. It exposes your business and your brand to people that wouldn't otherwise be exposed to it.
Yeah.
But also it's for your existing client base. Like Michael mentioned earlier in this episode, we started out, ours was a client appreciation event.
Yep.
Right. It wasn't designed to bring out outsiders. It was designed to have fun with people that already do business with us. And we got great feedback on that. And we want to talk about that because this is something that you can help. You can take time and you can put together a good event and it will bear fruit.
And that's the first starting point, right? You need to actually properly plan the event itself. And this is something you can't throw together and have it next month. Like, this is something that takes a couple of months to plan. It doesn't have to be stressful, but it needs to be thought out. And also, if you can, have a point person to do all this. If you're big enough as a company where the owner's not completely involved, that's helpful because this is something that most owners will backburn because they're too busy. So that's the biggest thing, is starting with that plan. So let's talk about planning.
Well, first of all, I think you need to have a goal of what you're trying to accomplish in mind.
Yep. So is it, and then let's make this note, like, at this event, you're not there to make a bunch of new customers. Like, you're there to help them, everybody enjoy it, and they might become new customers later, but not that day.
I say this around so many different things, but what is it you're trying to make them feel?
Yeah.
Right. They're going to care about how you made them feel at your event, not what you said.
Yep.
Okay. And not what you tried to offer or what you tried to sell, is how you made them feel.
Oh, yeah.
So start with the end in mind and have a goal.
Yep.
All right. And that goal could be to promote your brand. It could be to bring on new customers. It could be a myriad of different things, to celebrate your vendors. I don't know what the event is for you.
I think one event that talks to our medical community is you have a new doctor on staff.
That is a great time to do a grand opening
or ribbon cutting. You're because to us, when you have like a brand new doctor on staff, it's almost like a whole new stream of, one, revenue, but two, like, you're a different type of customer showing up at your door because of that particular provider. That's just the way it is. Like, we even know with our current client base, when they add a doctor, it's like adding another location almost, because it doubles their capacity. It allows for new things to happen. It's a whole new vibe.
It also takes the pressure off the existing doctors.
Yeah. So
right, like, you're bringing on another doctor because you're capped.
Well, and people, and you have to make sure you celebrate those doctors and you're marketing for them essentially, because if they will do their job, but once they get that clientele that loves them, you did that for them. And so you have to make sure like this is just as important for them as it is for you.
So ask yourself this question. Is this a branding event? Is this a appreciation event, or is this a sales event?
Yeah.
Okay. You need to decide before you get started on what you're trying to do, because if you're going to plan something like this before you do it, you have to target it to the right person.
Yep.
All right. So are you going to be talking to your existing client base? Are you going to be talking to the community and promoting this to the community because you're new in the community? Or are you trying to sell something to a bunch of people?
Yep.
Right. Like that's what you have to decide. And once you've decided that and you've got a goal in mind, then it's time to start promoting it. And there's several ways to do this. One of those of which is social media.
Yep.
Like put it out on your own social media, boost the post.
Yeah. Put some money
run
behind,
ads, put money on it.
You got to put some, like, it's amazing what like $100-$200 can do for an event promotion. Like it's a real thing, but you gotta put money, and it's gotta be uniformed. Like whatever you're putting on social posting for event, we'll talk about doing evites and then like physical invitations. Needs to have a general consensus where it's all the same. You don't want your physical invitation to look completely different from your digital one.
That's
Like,
right. Yep.
same-
You want to make consistency in brand.
Yep.
So we want to make sure that we're putting that content out on social media. You also want to start designing whatever kind of merch, whatever kind of swag, whatever kind of giveaways that you're going to use. Like one of our favorite ones, Michael, is our slap koozie.
Yeah, that
And
and
people love it.
and this, like, let me describe it, because when I show somebody this, they don't get it until I literally slap it on a can, and then they're like,
That's right.
"Oh, that's amazing."
That's glorious.
So if you can, if y'all go back in your mind as a kid, you remember slap bracelets where they're stiff and you slap it on your wrist and then it wraps around your wrist like a watch. So they make those they call them slap koozies. We call them that, at least, where it wraps around your can of drink. So there's flat. It's beautiful because you can have like 50 of them stacked up and doesn't take up any space. And then you slap each one around a can, and all of a sudden you got 50 koozies sitting there ready to go. It's something we've been using now, gosh, for 3 years maybe.
Yeah, but everybody that gets one loves it.
We always reorder. Like
Yep. It's a staple merch item.
and we see them like they exist. They don't get thrown in the trash. People hang on to these things.
You want to hear something crazy, Michael, about that? Like at my kids' school,
Oh no,
they're all over my school, like my son's school, because they'll come over, they'll get it, they'll take it with them, they'll go back to school, they'll have it on their Coke can or whatever, and they're all over my kids' school.
I have an idea.
Oh God,
Let's do one of those career days and bring 200 of those things.
right?
And so all the 10th and 11th graders and 12th graders take them home to all their families. What is this?
Hey, you know what? You medical professionals out there, urgent cares, all these people, like especially if you're a pediatrician or an urgent care, pediatric urgent care, something like that. Give these slap koozies to the kids that come in because they'll wear them at school.
Yeah.
Dead serious.
They're not just for cans.
No doubt about it. So getting those together. And we already talked about doing the social media post, but this is, you mentioned evites, right?
Yeah. Evite's kind of an old term.
Right.
Like, I think emailed invitations.
Well, Evite's a brand.
It is a brand.
Right.
It's like the
So-
Kleenex of emailed invitations.
It really is.
And Evites is a good platform. There's nothing wrong with Evites. If you already have a email platform you're using, like a MailChimp or any of the others, it's it's just a campaign. It's
That's
all
it.
it is. But and the thing is too, we've learned that it's good to ask for some RSVPing if you plan on providing real food, not just finger food. I've been to some events where they thought 50 or 100 people would show up and like 10 or 15. And so they're like, every guest was being asked, you want to take some home? You want to take some home?
You know, it's funny when we planned our client appreciation event, right? And of course, we know there were hundreds of people on our list that we wanted to be there that are clients,
Yep,
right?
yep.
But we also knew, hey, 40 to 50 will probably come.
Yeah.
And we planned for 40, and I think we got 38.
Yep.
But we planned.
Yep.
We
And-
called. We text messaged our clients. We sent out an email.
We had
We got
confirmations.
RSVPs. We even kept a spreadsheet of people who said yes and no and how many people they were bringing with them.
Yeah, it was pretty well organized.
It was.
And food wise, we probably spent $50 more than we needed to, which I'm totally cool with.
Man, those smash burgers though,
Yeah.
especially when
Yeah, use the Blackstone. Those were good.
when Mr. Ray came over from Exchange Bank and stuff. That was so funny.
He's like, let me take care of that.
That's
for you.
another story for another time. You can tell him that he got mentioned in a podcast.
There you go. He's
All right, let's
famous.
move to during the grand opening, during the ribbon cutting, during the client appreciation event. What are we going to be doing during this event?
Yes, and there's a couple of things here. So, and it all depends on budgets and size, right? Because not everything can be done. But you're at these events, you're going to have music. You're going to have a person that's in charge, like directing because the event isn't just show up, eat food.
Say music. I'm gonna say music, but I'm talking about entertainment.
Yeah.
Really is more what I'm talking about. For example, we didn't have music at ours,
Mhm.
but we had like cornhole.
So, yeah,
had-
something that kind
Yeah,
of
entertainment.
brought life to the event.
Right.
That's not food. So it could be live music, it could be a band, it could be entertainment games, it could be an interacting thing, whatever it is. So you need that. You need that person in charge that kind of directs the day a little bit. Where generally speaking, sorry, owner, this is usually you. The owner is usually somewhat in control here, or the marketing manager. Where, hey guys, we're doing this at this time. We're going to do that at this time. Because the last thing you want is you're doing a ribbon cutting and you don't know when to do it, and people are just standing around. And generally speaking, when it comes to these big action items, you want to do them toward the front of the event, so people don't feel like they have to stay the whole time and have a bad experience or miss something.
It should be designed as a come and go.
Everything should be come and go. You should not expect everybody just to show up at one. It's not a wedding. It's not like 20
Now,
minutes.
in retrospect, though, like a ribbon cutting is going to happen at a certain time.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay.
And then you have to force it too. So if you're saying this is a ribbon cutting at 2 p.m., well, at 2:05, that ribbon should be getting cut.
Yeah, exactly. Now the event will be from 1 to 3,
yeah.
but at 2:00 we're cutting the ribbon.
Yep.
2:05.
Yep.
Whatever.
So that's something. Also, something to consider. You probably should shut down your business that day or that afternoon. You don't need customers or patients coming in confused.
But Michael, we serve our patients at our facility, and during the day that would disrupt our business.
Okay.
This is an investment.
Right.
This is an investment. Every investment that I've ever made has a cost to it.
Oh yeah, and it's more than just what you write a check for. It's the losing cost of not having customers coming through the door. I went to a recent urgent care ribbon cutting, and they were still kind of seeing patients. And I remember one patient, this was kind of funny. The patient, or they were just trying to block it off, and a patient was taking longer than they were expecting. And that patient had accidentally parked right there in front where the ribbon cutting was going to happen. And so there's like 30 people standing around their car, and the mom gets in. She's like, I don't know what to do. And so we're all like, just back your car out.
Yep. I mean, you have to plan for those kinds of things. So I'm with you, Michael. You have to shut it down. You have to take time away and shut it down.
And I would say, and that's part of the scheduling too, this event should not be, generally speaking. Now, our client appreciation was on a weekend. Like, we chose a Saturday.
We did.
And that was because it was a very family oriented event. If this is the last family oriented event for you, it needs to be Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. Don't do Mondays, don't do Fridays. Friday afternoon, no one's coming. Monday, maybe, but Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, you're gonna have your highest turnout because it's in the middle of the week and they usually can schedule it in.
So I want to talk about a few events that I've been to, just to kind of brainstorm for our listeners real quick. Some things that I've seen, some things that I've been to, some things that you've seen and have been to,
Yep.
what's worked and what hasn't. Here's a really cool story from a guy that owns a restaurant. I'm going to leave his name out because I don't know if people want me sharing his name, but he hosted a company that was doing a client appreciation event, and it had a rooftop bar.
Nice.
And they did a lip sync battle between all of the clients.
Oh, that's
Dead
pretty-
serious. They
that's-
set up a stage. They had been practicing for it. Now that's a client appreciation type situation that like went off without a hitch. They had a blast, right?
I bet it wasn't their first one either.
It probably wasn't their first one, but you could bet like the customers wanted to go to that just to see, even if they didn't participate. Like crazy is going down.
Yep.
All right. So what's an example of one that you've been to?
It kind of depends. So some of the events that I've been to, some are so like straightforward. Here is a cake, and here is a speaking event for about 10 minutes. So people are talking about why, thank y'all for coming. And then very simple, very straightforward. Then I've had others where they do giveaways, which is a lot of fun. Like giveaways are legit. Like I'm not gonna lie, when you have that $300 50-inch TV sitting back there, put your card in to win type of thing and have fun
Mhm.
with it. Like that's a real fun stuff.
Is that the raffle?
Yeah, the raffles.
Yeah. So this brings me to a point, like have a sheet of paper where people are signing in that they came.
Yep.
Their name, their phone number, and their email. And we'll talk about follow up in a minute, but
Or an
and
iPad.
then
even
give them
better.
and then give them a ticket.
Yep.
Right. Give them a ticket for a giveaway. You are building a list of names that you now own.
Yep. Yeah, exactly.
It's all part of the marketing experience.
And people expect that. Like if they're willing to give away a little bit of their info to get something in return, like that's just the nature of life.
yeah, I'll take a shot at getting a 50-inch TV between 75 to 100 people
For an
for a
email,
name and an email.
for an email that I may get twice in the next month and never see again.
That's
like,
right.
Or unsubscribe from. So, but yeah, so they're all, like I said, they're all a little different. I will say the ones that are more family oriented, where they have games or whatever, they are a lot more fun to go visit. Because one was really good. There was a it was a ribbon cutting for an arcade, or the local where you buy the arcade games.
Oh, I don't know that one.
It's in the Galleria. What's
Bumper Nets.
Bumper Nets? Yeah,
Yes, I do know Bumper Nets.
Bumper Nets. So they've been around forever, and they had like a ribbon cut. I can't remember what it was, but it was like 2 or 3 years ago, and all the games were open. You just walk up and play. There was no, don't have to put your money in, just play. And that everybody stuck around for like the full 2 hours.
Maybe we need to have a client appreciation at Bumper Nets.
Just rent out the whole
Just
thing.
rent out the place. So
It was good.
from a medical, I went to a great grand opening. Best one I've ever been to was Precision Chiropractic. It was in Pelham, Alabama.
Oh yeah.
Did you go to that one?
I
Okay,
Don't think I
so
did.
here's what they did. All right, so obviously they promoted it because I found my way there.
they're not a client, by the way.
They're not. No, they're not. But Precision Chiropractic, they are a friend though. So went in, they had a sign up sheet, and with that sign up sheet, they gave you a punch. Like you sign up. Here's when I say punch, I'm talking about like the cup with ice cream and Sprite.
Yeah, yeah,
Whatever it
yeah.
is. You know what I'm talking about? Here's some punch. So they handed it to you. You could say no or whatever, but I didn't have to go get it. They just handed it to you. They had somebody there to do that. And it was some merch over there that you could grab. And then you'd go mingle for a minute. And the way they lay out, just think of like an upside down U, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, that's the shape, or an upside down horseshoe. And what they would do is they had their team members grab 3 to 4 people at a time and walk them from examination room to adjustment room to x-ray room to adjustment room. And then in the last room, the doctor was there giving a completely free evaluation. I don't even know what the little thing is where they just kind of punch it in your back.
Yeah.
And then they enter in that information into their computer. And they didn't put their name or anything in there, but they would print that out and say, this is what your back looks like. And we can help you fix this if you're interested. And then here is a XYZ promotional price for your next visit. They just handed it to them.
Yep.
Come back later, like come at another time. They did the raffle, they did the ribbon cutting, they did the grand opening, but man, did they have a strategy. They had somebody ready for everything to walk these people. And boy, did they have a turnout. They had Gigi's cupcakes,
Nice.
then they had all the things, right? So that is how you do a planned out promotion, which leads me to the last piece is the follow up. They had
Yeah.
a plan to follow up.
And that is a real key thing. So if you're interacting with brand new people that aren't current customers of any sort, there has to be some type of follow up. Like you, and that goes back to what was said earlier. You need a sign up sheet. You need a list to follow up from, and the follow up can be as complicated or as simple as you want it to be, but it needs to happen, and it needs to happen quickly. It's not something you just say, "Hey, last month you showed up." If you probably don't remember,
Right.
and then inside of that follow up, is there a promotional piece tied to it? Because, like you said, there was a promotional price going on because they were part of that event. That's something you can offer because it's real. Like either way you cut it, it's a real thing to thank people for coming, and here's something to thank you with, because they took time out of their day to come see you. They may have wanted free food or whatever, but they still came and did it. And trust me, an event like that feels a whole lot better when there's a bunch of warm bodies showing up than nobody there.
So I got to tell you about one of the coolest follow-ups I've ever seen from an event. All right. My friend, Cindy Hilbrick, she's a realtor.
Okay.
She hosted a Barons baseball game because you can do that for company events, right?
Oh yeah.
And she did a client appreciation. She invited, I don't know, there were probably 100 people there. I don't know, just people that have bought houses or were going to buy a house, right? But what she did, I don't know if you remember Tiffany, she does photography and all
Yeah,
that,
yeah, yeah.
right? So she hired her to come video people and interview them while they're at the event. Hey, what do you love about Cindy? Or, what was your experience like, or whatever.
Yeah.
She made a super cut video, really well done, produced video that then went up on social media. I want to say it was 2 to 3 days later, and her marketing person tagged every
Everyone.
person in that video.
Yep.
They were resharing it and doing all this stuff. What a great way to do a follow-up is to do a highlight reel and tag everybody that was in the highlight reel.
Oh yeah.
Here's the people in the video. Here's the people that came and visited us. Tag every single one of them in the social media. You're going to blow up your social media.
That makes me even think about, because I think I've seen something similar, but let's talk about real quick, like a pediatric urgent care or pediatrician in general. You could schedule an event like a week or two before school starts and include free family photos or free or kid photos. Because what do we see on social media all the time, right? We see the first day of school or something like that. So you could literally give them free photography at that event. Just because, like, to kind of give you a perspective, my wife and I do that for our church on Mother's Day. We do free family photos,
which is so cool, I might add.
Yeah, we've been doing it now for 7 years, and it is marked, like even the pastor says this, the number 1 attended day is Easter, the number 2 attended day is Mother's Day. And we know that because now we put out a lot of photos.
Right.
But what do? I can tell you, so we take the photos, we upload to a gallery, go to the pastor, then the pastor has an email list. He fires it off to the entire church and then to the list of the guests that showed up, like, what's this? And write down your email, we'll send it to you. And then a day or two later, we start seeing those photos show up on their Facebook profile photo. And that's I think I literally represent, according to the photos we've taken, I think represents probably 80% of the profile pictures of our church. Like, that's
so cool.
That's what it's become. And
right.
They tag the church. Hey, where'd you get those photos? It was done at the church, at the station church, so that's an easy, like, to me, doesn't cost much. Let's be honest. That's not going to cost you a ton. And then all of a sudden you have all these people that have their photo taken and then they're sharing on social media, because that's where the photo goes.
That's also where community is built.
Yep. And so, where did you get this photo? This is so great, blah, blah, blah. And they said, well, hey, the pediatrician down the street did the photo for us. It was part of their event.
You know what that reminds me of? And this is another great event if you're going to do a client appreciation or an open house or something like that, is people will rent over the weekend. It's going to sound terrible. You're renting a person. They'll bring in a Santa Claus.
Oh yeah, we do that too.
You know what I'm talking about though? Like, what a great way. Like, invite all of your clients, bring your kids, get pictures made with Santa.
Yep, we do. And do the same thing.
Give out, have branded ornaments that will never make it to a tree, but you gave it to them anyway.
Yeah, like
nobody's gonna put your brand on a tree.
So
sorry, that would be bad.
So our church rents a Santa Claus for a certain Sunday.
Sounds so bad.
And then we photograph that. And I mean, honestly, sorry, mall Santa Clauses out there, but the photography there is just not great. It's funny because the kid doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
But anyway,
horrified.
It's a real thing. And people really cherish, because here's what it boils down to. Like, when it comes to photos, people really want family photos, but they don't make time for it. And then the one time they do, something terrible happens and they have to cancel. Now you're giving a free opportunity. So it makes a big difference. So if you want something that's not very costly, like probably less than $1,000, you can have that as a promotional piece inside that event.
So our client Christmas party this year will revolve around Santa Claus.
Are you gonna be Saint Nick?
I don't have any hair. Although my beard is turning white, but so is yours. So I'm all good. All right. So to recap, you want to have a pre-event plan.
Yep.
You want to have a during an event plan.
Yep.
To gather information, gather data, to give back to them an offer. And then you want a follow-up strategy.
Yep.
Those are the 3 things: before, during, and after.
And you got to plan all this out before you put anything out there.
Here's what I found. The ones that I've been to made me feel a certain way are the ones that I remember. The lip sync battle.
Yeah.
Right. The walking me through a horse shape.
Yep.
Or an upside down horseshoe, like a plan for that. I also remember one specifically where they were trying to hard sell during the event, and it totally turned me off. I remember that too. And guess where I didn't go back?
Yeah. And then,
hey, does anybody want to book an appointment with us while we're here? and you could hear a pin drop in the room. It was so awkward.
Oh yeah. Well, and so one more that came to my mind. So it was a chamber event. So this was not a ribbon cutting. This was not a business oriented one. It was this business sponsored the Coffee and Contacts, which is a morning breakfast thing for the chamber. Well, when they sponsor, you come to their facility. At that event, it was a hairstylist place, but they just brought on a masseuse. And so the masseuse was actually giving free 5-minute neck massages if you just wanted to. You just walk up and say, yeah, I'd love to give. And people lined up and did it. I mean, I think that person was massaging necks for an hour straight. Like it was constant. But that's the same idea as the chiropractor, where it's like, here you go. But the thing they didn't do, they didn't give us a follow-up or a promotional. Hey, come back. Hey, here's a card. Come back and your first appointment's half off or something. Like,
Anything.
just something. There was no follow-up. That was the only missing piece of that, but it was good.
So I don't know if you're listening right now, you're most likely in some form of retail medicine. And here's what I mean by that.
Yep.
They don't have to have you, but they want to use you. That could be an urgent care. I could wait and go to my doctor, but I want the convenience of going to an urgent care.
Yep.
That could be a chiropractor. My back hurts and I can take medicine for that and I can go get a pain block, but I'd rather do it naturally. And so I'm going to go get a regular visit with my chiropractor.
Yep.
It could be a massage therapist, right? It could be any number of different things, right? It could be teeth whitening for all I know. Point I'm trying to make though is, what is the cost of service that you're trying to promote? Write that number down, multiply it times whatever you're willing, or divide it into whatever your budget is for marketing. So let's just say I want to spend $2,500 on this event. I've got this much allocated for food, drink, water, beer, whatever. Well, the rest of it is going to be in giveaways that I want to give a coupon for somebody to come back and get a free massage, somebody to come back and get. It is a marketing cost and it is worth every penny of it.
Oh yeah. It may not feel like much on the front end when you have the event, but then you always get residuals later.
That's it.
It really does happen.
Well, I hope this has been a help and a benefit to you. We love client events. We love open houses. We love business appreciations and all these different kinds of things that we get to attend on a regular basis just because of the circles that we run in.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm telling you as our listener that it is effective when well planned out.
Yep.
And we want to encourage you to take advantage of it and to go do it. Here's what I would love to do. I'd love to hear it. If you've done one that's been successful, write into us. Our email is hello@patientcaremarketingpros.com. Let us know what's worked for you and what hasn't worked for you. And we may bring you on and interview you onto the podcast because I think this is a good, viable marketing tool for medical practices.
And then, and a lot of them don't do it.
No, they don't and should.
Yeah, and they really should. So this is just it's a small expense in comparison to what it can do for you. So we encourage it. I know this episode was a departure from True Digital, but if y'all have noticed that our goal really is just to help you. And then we know from the because we're marketing people, there's multifacets to this. And so, but they all work together every single time.
Well, hey, listen, if you like what you're hearing, share it with somebody and invite somebody into our Walk-Ins Welcome community. We love hearing from other people and we love our new listeners. And if you hate what we're doing, tell 2 or 3 people, spread it like wildfire, because then they'll come in and see what kind of a dumpster fire we have going on here. But either way, we want to tell you how much we appreciate you and how much what you're doing in the community matters. And we want to encourage you to keep on keeping on.
Yep.
All right. We'll see you next time.
See ya.